Welcome to week 2. We need a bounce back. So today we're going to be previewing the game between the Titans and the Chargers, our home opener. I think it's a seat over there, so get comfy. Welcome to From the Cheap Seats. Hey, welcome back. Glad to have you. I'm your host, Bonafide, and this is From the Cheap Seats, the show where we preview and recap all the games from this upcoming Tennessee Titans season. So we're going to get right into it. So our game preview between the Titans and the Chargers. So this is the home opener for us. And we got the Los Angeles Chargers coming in. Every time I think about the Chargers, I think about Arnold Schwarzenegger. Go Chargers, go. So anyway, they just lost to the Dolphins in a game where Tua and Tyreek went crazy. All right. So yeah, they lost that game. Herbert was in that game. He was 23 or 33 for 228 and a TD. He had no picks, things like that. And that ground game for the Chargers was cooking. Austin Eckler had like 117 in a tutty, and I think they gained like 200 yards on the ground. The defense was largely to blame for their loss, though, because if you read the stories from the beat writers from LA, they had blown coverages, penalties. They gifted the Dolphins points, and just an inability to shut Tyreek Hill down led to their demise. But can anybody really shut down Tyreek Hill? I mean, we'll find out later this year. But yeah, so like I said in the intro, we need to bounce back in the worst way, especially on offense. But this isn't a team that you could just say, oh, this is going to be an easy win, easy dub, because their offense was cooking. I mean, like I said, the Chargers defense was largely to blame for that, but I know they're kind of licking their chops when they look up on the board and they see that a one Ryan Timothy Tannehill is on the schedule. So, and we're one of the only teams in the NFL that hasn't scored an offensive touchdown. So, yeah. Tim Kelly called a good game last week. I like the mix-up. I like the play call, things like that. I think we passed more on first down, but I think this week we're going to see a healthy dose of Derrick Henry. I would almost bet on it. So the next segment is who's in, who's out. So DeAndre Hopkins has an ankle issue, and Amani Hooker is in the concussion protocol. And they haven't practiced all week, but it's not unusual to see somebody get a DNP, a limited participation on Friday, and then that player have a chance to play or be active on Sunday. So I think they still have a chance to play, more so DeAndre than Amani, but we shall see. Fulton was limited this week with the hammy. Go figure. So that's another thing we got to keep out. Spears was on there with the groin, but he was listed as a full participant on Thursday's injury. So we got to keep an eye out on those key players, things like that. I think other than that, we were relatively healthy out of those 4 players. With DeAndre Hopkins kind of like being the most important one on that one. Amani Hooker, yeah, I think we probably can fill in with, Molden for one game, but those are the 2 key ones that we're kind of honing in on right there. As far as the Chargers go, Joey Bosa and Austin Eckler are dealing with hamstring issues, and they haven't practiced the past 2 days. So it remains to be seen if they're going to actually be in the game on Sunday. Now, if they're out, that might bode well for us, and it can give us an advantage because Austin Eckler, is their leading rusher, and Joey Bosa is that tandem with Khalil Mack. So we definitely need to keep an eye on that because that may work out into our favor. So the Gridiron Gambles, and this segment is sponsored by Music City Bets. You can follow them on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, at Music City Bets for all your gambling plays throughout the NFL season. So our Gridiron Gambles play of the day for this game up against the Chargers, we're going to change it up. We're going to give a parlay for y'all this week. We got a Derrick Henry focused parlay. Derrick Henry over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's a plus 525. So, hey, let's see if we can win some money. And then remember to follow Music City Bets on Twitter for all your gambling plays. So this next segment is this a must-win game? So I know that kind of sounds hot take-ish, But and there's a lot of football to play. Everybody says week 1 is a liar, and then you week 2, and there's a lot of football to play. That's what we kept hearing over and over this week, especially given the whole Ryan Tannehill performance that we saw here. But before you go to start shaking your head, let me drop this nugget on you. Since 1990, only 31 of the 270 clubs that played in this game, so 11.5%, that began the season 0-2 or 0-2 advanced to the playoffs. So, and then since 2007, 125 teams have gone 0-2. Only 12 of those teams have rallied to make the playoffs. That's 113 to 12 for all you math fans at the house. Now, 11 teams were 0-2 in 2020, and then 7 in 2021. None of them made the playoffs. In 2022, 6 teams started off 0-2. The Bengals were one of them. Let me give you another hint of who else was in that group. The Tennessee Titans. And only the Bengals recovered from losing their first 2 games to go all the way to the playoffs, and they went 12-4 and made it to the AFC Championship game. So the math says that this is very difficult to make the playoffs if we lose this game on Sunday. So it gives that vibe that, hey, we got to have this game. 1-1 looks way better than 0-2. So now that we know this, how do we win this game and avoid going 0-2? So this is what I'm thinking that we need to do. Obviously, the number one thing paramount is we have to protect the football. Yes, I am talking to you, 17, Ryan Timothy Tannehill. You have to stop turning the ball over. If we want to win this game, we got to stop the turnovers, okay? Point number 2, we got to run the ball. Now, Derek needs to have at least 20 carries in this game. Last week, I think I read a stat somewhere where the highest number of carries across the league in week 1 was 22, and I think that was by Christian McCaffrey, and Derek had 15. So we need to switch this up. Now, wait a minute, hold up. I'm not saying that we need to go all exotic smash mouth, run the ball 50 million times with Derrick Henry and just pass. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying we've got to extend some of these drives. And for some of these drives to be extended, we have to run the ball. All right. We need to get him in the game, running the ball, getting that, because that is one of the keys to success for our ID, because we need to extend some of these drives. And going to the next point, we need to have success on some of these offensive drives. If we stop the turnovers and we hit open wide receivers, then we might be able to score our first TD of the season, or even couple of more. And I need to see that ball in Burks, Chiggs, and if he plays DeAndre Hopkins ball, but I don't want to be able to force it to them at all, because that's what got us in trouble last game, is forcing the ball to DeAndre Hopkins no matter what. You know what I'm talking about. All right, so, and the last thing is that the pass defense has to be better. We can't give up 300 plus yards to Justin Herbert. We cannot do it, and not this Kellen Moore offense. So I think the pass rush is going to do their part and frustrate Herbert. So we have to capitalize on those mistakes that he's going to make in this game. So I think if we can do all of this, and it seems like a lot, but it's just like Mike says, fundamentals. If we can stick with the fundamentals, protect the quarterback, stop the ball from being turned over, and get turnovers, we should have a very good opportunity to win the game. I mean, we only lost by 1 point last week, even though, like I said in my other video, it felt like 40. So we about to wrap this video up. So I was watching Zach Lyons on the Football and Other F Waters, their latest pod, and he mentioned that he believes that we win this game simply because Mike Vrabel is a better coach than Brandon Staley. And yeah, I'm grasping at everything. So I tend to agree that that is the case. Mike Vrabel, even if you don't like some of the decisions he makes, usually the data backs it up that he's making wise decisions in game time. We really don't hear a lot of issues where Mike has problems with clock management or calling the right timeout or challenging the right play. And that's because I do think some of the changes in the staff when it comes to, analytics and having people that he trusts, things like that, helps him make those decisions. So yeah, I definitely think he's a better coach than Brandon Staley. So I think that has to play a role in us getting a victory. So, I feel like I said, this is a game that we have to win, and we need to come out the gates fast. We need to get a score on that first offensive drive. And I'm not just talking about a field goal. We need a touchdown. We need to get that proverbial monkey off of our backs, break the end zone, the goal line, get in the end zone, score a touchdown, do a TD dance. That way we can see some success. And if you can see it, like they say in basketball, if you see the ball go in the hoop, that'll usually get you out of your slump. But over anything, we gotta hold on to the ball when we have it. We cannot turn it over. All right, so for my prediction for this week, in all honesty, and I heard Buck Rising say this too on one of his calls into the show, I cannot see Ryan Tannehill having an even worse game than he had in New Orleans. I can't see it. Or at least I'm telling myself that I can't see it happen. But this is football. It's any given Sunday. Who knows what happens? But I'm thinking that he bounces back this game. I think he throws 2 TDs. I wanted to say he was only going to throw 1, but I think he's going to throw 2 TDs. But he is going to have another pick. But I think Derek breaks 100 yards. He gets a TD. And then our defense continues to do what they do on the front 7. And I think they get to Herbert at least 3 times. And then we get another turnover. And we don't end up going 0-2. We get back to 500. And we beat them with a score of 24-17. So, if you made it this far, I appreciate you. Don't forget to tune into the recap where we go over everything that happened in the game, give you our player of the game. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video to your fellow Titans fans, because like I said, we got plenty of room in the section for everyone. So thank you for joining us today. And yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger, was he really a good governor in LA? I mean, who knows? Tighten up.